Okay, do we have a story for you guys this week? It was a good one.
It really
Crazy
was.
at that. It was a lot of fun.
I know, a lot of life lessons learned, a lot of mistakes made.
And we would love to tell you guys about it. Here we go.
We had a very interesting story how we got the ring, and I feel like a lot of people don't share that, so we wanted to share that with you.
Of course, because it was super over the top. Like everything we do, we can never do something simply.
Never.
That's why we kind of want to do all this stuff, to have memories of all the details of how crazy all these simple things go.
So, we will one day share our love story too, because that's just crazy and insane how that all worked out. But anyways, we had been dating for like 6 months, and we knew that we wanted to get married, but we wanted to like wait until like the end of summer or fall so that we could do our own thing in the summer. But then plans changed.
Like they always do.
Just, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
He's gonna get a great kick out of it. It's hilarious. And then he'll be like, okay, here's what you're actually gonna do. And you're gonna be like, oh, okay.
Okay, got it.
So, without further ado, the story of this ring. It is December 2020, and we are getting ready to start taking more serious steps towards getting married, because that's what you gotta do. Okay, so we were going up north to see our families, and we were just looking for something to do. And I was like, okay, if we're trying to get married and we need something to do, rings are an important part of getting married. So I was like, had this brilliant idea. I was like, hey, let's go look at rings and see what we can find.
Emphasis on
look at rings, because it is December right now. We didn't have plans to be married until like September of the next year.
So I'm like, sure, why not? Like, I've always wanted to do that. I've never done it. We decided to go look because he had a friend that owned a jewelry store, and so we're like, oh, perfect. We'll just go take a look, see, get an idea. So then later in the future, like way down the road, when we want to get a ring, then we know what to expect.
We could get a great deal. It'll be no pressure. They won't try to hassle us into buying anything. Were we wrong? Wow.
All of those happened. So we go look, and the very first one we find, love it. Like, absolutely, I'm in love with it. It's this one. So you know how the story already ends.
Yes, I knew it from the minute she put it on, because she like looked at a few, like through the glass, and I was like,
That's
oh,
pretty, that's
you know,
pretty.
it's okay. And I wasn't like seeing anything. I was like, that's totally Aspen. Then they go and they find this one, and it's like the first one she puts on her hand. She's like, oh my gosh. And I was like,
I was shocked.
okay, easy.
Because my favorite color is yellow, which now you know. My favorite color is yellow. And they have yellow diamonds, which I had no idea about. I'm like clueless when it comes to jewelry. I never really wear it. So I'm like, a yellow diamond, you're kidding. I have to have it. So I'm like flipping out. I'm taking all these pictures. I'm like, also, then the lady, it wasn't his friend, it was this other girl that was working. She picks up on how much I love this ring. And so she's like trying to give us this deal, and she's saying all these different prices and how much she can take off. And I was like,
terrible poker face on her part.
I know, terrible. I didn't know. It's my first time. I didn't know you're supposed to psych them out. So anyways, they're like trying to sell us. And she's like, if you buy it today, then we'll give you like $2,000 off. And I'm like, side note, I love a good deal. I hate spending money. I was already stressed. He had to like prep me to like, he's like, rings are expensive, just be warned. And I'm like, I don't know. So the fact that they're like gonna give us a deal is huge. So
she's falling fast.
So fast.
Falling super
It's
deep,
December.
super fast for this ring. I'm like doing math in my head. I'm like, oh man, that's a long time before we're gonna get married. What am I gonna do with this ring? So we managed to get her out of the store. We managed to get out of the store without purchasing the ring, which was a small victory in itself.
Yeah. But then the whole time I was like, oh, but I love it, and I'm thinking about it. And then I had a party with my friends that night, and I was like,
yeah.
telling them all about it, and they're like, it's beautiful. And then I'm telling him, I'm like, I want it so bad.
Our parents all know by this point that she absolutely loves this ring.
Love it. And then, me being me, there's this jewelry store from like my hometown, and it's going out of business. And so now I'm in ring mode, so I'm like, let's just go look there and see if we can find something cheaper. Like, the whole store is closing in 2 weeks, so there's all these deals.
Everything must go. They were trying to get rid of every
That's what the
last
sign
piece
said.
of jewelry.
Everything must go. So we go, and I really don't like anything. I'm just comparing everything to this ring. And I'm like, do you have canary diamonds? They're like, no. So the whole time, I'm not loving anything like I love this. And there's a huge deal, price tags everywhere, so I stay. And then there's this one ring that I think I could like, and so I asked the guy to try it on, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful ring. Humongous. Humongous. He said it was like $12,000, and I'm overwhelmed already, so I'm like, no, I'm okay. And then he tells us that's like 75% off, and I'm like, what? That's the craziest deal ever.
So she's wigging out. She's like, oh my gosh, this ring is so beautiful that I found at the other place, and it's yellow, and it's a canary diamond, and it's so amazing. But this deal is so
amazing.
great.
So it's like, here's the one I really love and want, but here's the one that's so much better deal. So we are at a controversy. So I'm like torn completely, and I don't know what to do because I don't want him to spend a ton of money on me, which is hilarious. I'm so frugal.
You're gonna spend money on a wedding ring, quite a bit.
No, and if I would have just had that mindset, then a lot of problems would have been okay. Because what happens is I'm so stressed out because I don't want to spend a lot of money, and I don't love this ring. So we go get lunch at like our favorite Samoan food truck, and I like back and forth in my little brain, and I already just have a hard time making decisions. So I'm telling him, I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. All these things going through it, and then finally he's like, okay, what do you want? And the guy at the ring store is like, we close in 2 weeks, so you have to give me an answer today. So I tell Trey to tell the going out of business store that we're gonna get the $12,000 ring. And as soon as I tell him that, I just have the worst feeling. Like, it would not go away. I have this huge pit in my stomach. And it's all because I didn't want this ring, and I'm about to spend money on a ring I don't love. I interpret it in my head that maybe I'm not supposed to get married.
So, long story short, we had a big
Mess.
heart-to-heart mess of a
And I was
conversation.
like, I don't know what to do. I might have cold feet. I was like, running. I'm really good at running. Commitment issues, wow, to the max. Worked through it though. Life coaches, therapists, amazing.
So, you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure this works. And by the way, let me add this. For guys, there are ways that you don't have to spend money on a ring. Will your partner love it? I don't know. You have to talk that out and decide with them. What I failed to do in this situation was I was like super laid back. I was like, whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you think is best for you, and you have your preference.
He's really trying.
And the only thing that I told her that kind of threw a wrench in the whole thing is I said, the only reason or the only way that I'm going to be upset about spending money on a ring is if we spend a lot of money on a ring that you don't love.
And here I am about to spend a ton of money on a ring that I don't love.
So we were trying to work through it. And here's the thing. When you have a preference or you have a thought, tell them the thought. Because I was like, whatever you want, it's okay. I think maybe this. And I was never super definitive on
Yes.
to give her it.
Because this whole experience was good because it made me learn how to make decisions and not second guess myself like I do my whole life. So it was really good that he wasn't, and in the moment I just wanted him to like confirm that he was okay spending more money on this ring that I love, and he wouldn't do that. He's like, whatever you want, and I'm like, so he probably wants the cheaper one.
So I left her with no decision to make. But this isn't a therapy session about decisions in life. So
It could be.
It could be. We could go on.
We're not gonna do that though.
This is a story about buying an engagement ring.
Totally. So he tells the guy, we're gonna get it. He puts it on the shelf so nobody else can buy it. The next morning I wake up having a panic attack and I'm like, I don't want that ring. I don't want it. Don't get it. So he tells the other guy, we're not gonna get it. So then we take a break, we work through things. I love Drake. I want to marry him. So got through all of that crazy shenanigans going on in my head. And then we come back home, go through the holidays, and then the lady at the store calls him, his friend, with this ring. And she tells him that if we get the ring, they can give us an even better deal. So this was like a $9,000 ring or something like that.
I think so.
And they're gonna give us like $3,000 or $4,000 off or something like that. So awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So we jumped on it. We got it all sorted out from like all the way on the other side of the state from where we were. We got it all sorted out. We got the ring paid for.
Called our parents. We're like,
Yeah.
this is what we're gonna do. Could you pick it up? Because we live like 4 hours away from it. So I'm like, could you pick up the ring, please?
So we've got this huge problem.
To solve. We already solved the one with which ring to buy. And now we're trying to solve the one with when do we get married?
When do we get engaged with this new beautiful ring that we just bought that we love so much? Okay.
So stay tuned.
We are going to talk about that on the next episode. With this, we want to just kind of have some morals. Like we said, this isn't a therapy channel. This is a channel that's to show you about how fun life can be
And
to
all
tell
the
our
mistakes we made.
yes, and
to tell our
how
story.
to tell our story because we think it is truly
Hilarious.
awesome. So
And we don't know how it ever works out, but it always does.
it always does. So remember that it's always going to work out. Okay?
And if you're going ring shopping, whoever you are, just get the ring that you want. Everything, like we just said, is figure outable. It'll always make it in the end.
Mhm.
But you'll have it for the rest of your life. And I look at it every day, totally in love. And I know if I got the other one, I wouldn't. I would have regretted it. And that's what caused all these problems. So get what you want.
And don't go ring shopping until you're ready to buy. a ring.
Totally. Because we were like, oh, we'll just look. That never happens. You never just look. So that's the story of us. We have never gone ring shopping until then. So now we can say,
Never ends now. We got the ring. We learned some great lessons along the way.
Lots of hard things that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
But we're so grateful for them now. And that's the whole purpose of life, is living and learning and growing and becoming.
It's all one big adventure. So remember, guys, life's out there. Go live it.